The most underused word in the English language could literally save lives, but we live in a time where people fear this word when formed into a question. And? Someone said something that offended you. And? Did they physically harm you? Did they directly threaten you or your family? Well, then who cares? There are 8 billion people on this planet, and thanks to social media, you have access to most of them. What Stacy in Iceland believes about abortion or religion affects you as much as a fart in the wind. But because you oppose her view, you will go out of your way to try and ruin her life. Why get her fired from her job when she disagrees with the most recent ridiculous social activist cause? Now she's unable to feed her family, just because she had the nerve to voice an opinion. We have lost the primary fundamentals needed to coexist and still achieve our goals.
Experience on that stairwell was the best of mankind that day, not the worst. No gender, no race, no religion, everyone helping each other. That day, I became a Muslim. That day, I became an African American. That day, I became a Jayhawk. That day, we all became one. Last time I'm going to tell you, we are here to help each other.
What are your goals? If they're respectful of others while achieving your goal, then they are noble.
For our next acts of kindness, we have 30 volunteers from Google.org. And they're going to see how many boxes of food they can pack in 30 minutes.
I want to support my family and ensure they have a future after my time is done. That's a noble goal. Do you want to be the greatest athlete? Programmer? Artist? Manager? Those are noble goals. Where we fall short is so many people today have their priorities wrong. We want to collect as much money as we can, which is a terrible goal. And to what end? When will that goal be satisfied? Most of the wealthy billionaires like Steve Jobs, who has passed away, all echo the same thing. Their goal cost them happiness. Why substitute a false pretense of happiness when that void is more fulfilled by enjoying life? I would love $1 million, but if I had to trade it for participating in the time with my loved ones, it's not worth it. Watching my daughter grow up, tell me her wild stories that only a 5-year-old can imagine is worth more than that. Teaching my son what mistakes I made so he doesn't repeat them is worth more than $1 million. Modern day goals are selfish and ultimately empty. Is your goal to be an activist to correct something you see as wrong? That's a noble goal, right? Yes, unless it affects others in an adverse way. It becomes a burden on society. Blocking traffic on a busy interstate is not noble. It's costing people with actual noble goals to struggle in their own lives. Burning down businesses is not a noble goal. Throwing paint on a wondrous piece of art is not noble. Tearing down history is not a noble cause. Anything that purposely causes destruction is evil.
Mockery of evil is a virtue.
We are a society that has lost its way, but mainly due to government approval and no consequence for actions.
And guess what? We're gonna win this battle because while you try and quote the Bible, Jeff Sessions and others, you really don't know the Bible. God is on our side. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Biden and his family were celebrating July 4th on the Truman balcony. Behind the scenes, the Secret Service was investigating the shocking discovery of cocaine just steps from the Oval Office.
What are those goals? If you sat an activist down and asked them what exactly needed to happen for your cause to be corrected, they cannot answer you.
So like there's actually a statistics or a study done that suggests that climate related disasters are 8 times more likely than in 1980s.
Well, hold on a second. You know that we have less people dying because of quote unquote climate related disasters thanks to fossil fuels. We have less people dying because of extreme exposure to cold, hurricanes, because of the advancements we have thanks to fossil fuels. You know, this idea, it's very interesting in modern society. We take for granted the idea of having widespread shelter, heating or air conditioning in extreme climates thanks to hydrocarbons, we take for granted. That used to be a leading cause of death of human beings up until 1850s. Now, if I posit your contention, climate-related catastrophes, even though, according to peer-reviewed studies, that climate-related catastrophe death is actually at all-time low. The question is then for you, which is, what would you get rid of, when, and what would the cost of that be? That is the question, so please answer that.
Activism is the new religion. The purpose of religion is to worship a deity and trust that your actions leave you in good graces with your Savior. I know that's somewhat vague in the overall meaning, but that's the basic sentiment of it all. As the years have passed, less people turn to religion and instead fill that void by joining the cause. With the addition of social media and the reach of these causes, it's taken on a congregation of faithful. And to be accepted into whatever kingdom your cause offers, you find your goals are to appease whatever god or idol you serve. In some cases, that's the earth. In other cases, that's your government oligarchs. We've lost our way as a society. It seems the more we challenge the U.S. Constitution, the further our society collapses. In the grand scheme of things, America created the greatest economy in history with the most amazing innovations the world has ever seen. Yet it's only existed for 273 years. With the suppression of free speech and the attacks on the ability to disagree or criticize, innovation has decayed.
No, it's 100% accurate. People are arrested in Germany, jailed for speech.
No!
Yes.
They're arrested if they use hateful speech.
What was the last good comedy movie you've seen? When did you last feel safe going into town to just enjoy time with your friends and family? This is a reflection of our administration caving to social complaints, choosing political correctness over the safety and continued success of the nation. What was once the great melting pot has melted into a nation with no identity. I see this as a result of those with power promising to destroy those that disagree with them.
I am proud to announce the Biden-Harris administration will develop our nation's first national strategy to counter Islamophobia.
Why do we need a DEI score to run a business? What happened to the best man or woman for the job? We are in the decline of the Western civilization. This will not end until those being persecuted for beliefs use that one simple word. And stop caving to the oligarchs who threaten your survival in the name of being offended. Challenge their views. Take back the right to be independent.
If you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. Why am I the only person on this stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job?
There are too many people on this planet to please them all. Stay true to your beliefs. Don't cave to social pressures. The more you stay silent, the more that will be taken from you, your family, and your loved ones. If you stand by silently, you will continue to watch the destruction of your community, your history, and your futures, and the rights that our forefathers fought and died for so that you could speak freely. Those who created our Constitution would demand you preserve the rights awarded by their blood, sweat, and tears. Time to take back your rights, Because you know our elected officials do not represent us anymore. It's up to you. Stay strong, remain noble, and do not allow those in power to continue to oppress you. This battle falls on your shoulders, and the identity of this nation needs to be reclaimed.
Officers Act caught on camera as the funeral procession of Robert Lee Serling entered the Alabama State Veterans Memorial Cemetery at Spanish Fort. Mount Vernon police officer Newman Brazier got out of his cruiser, stood at attention in the pouring rain as you see here. He says he simply wanted to recognize a fellow veteran from a small town.
Freedom of the tyranny of those who hate this country is what makes this land survive. Be safe, be prepared, and be unapologetic. This land belongs to you. Take it back.
To the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. As I was walking